What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV here, back here for another match preview. The Premier League is back. Tottenham are back finally after a long 2 weeks of international break. I mean, look, I kind of do miss the disappointment every so often, but England just doesn't cut it for us, does it? It just doesn't cut it.
It's just different. You're addicted to, things meaning stuff, you know what I mean? And with England, the qualifiers, it's just boring. It doesn't mean anything. The stakes are low. Win, lose or draw, we're going to qualify. It doesn't really matter. So just at least the hustle and bustle of the Premier League is back. And whether we win, lose or draw, at least we're going to be feeling some emotions on Sunday, that's for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Massive game this weekend. Obviously, Newcastle away, 2:05 kickoff on Sunday at St James's Park. It's a team that we kind of get mixed bag results against, but usually at St James's Park, we do get the job done, don't we?
Yeah, it's a weird one. At home, we seem to always lose to them or get a draw or something. We always get bad results against Newcastle. Even back, back in the days where Tim Krul was in goal, he had a mad game where they beat us 1-0.
Newcastle always has a 10 out of 10 against us, always.
I remember there was one game, anyway. Who was it? Perez got a 90th minute winner. We lost 2-1. It happens so often that we lose at home to them. And also Mourinho famously never won at St James's Park up until last season. So he's always also had a thing about Newcastle as well. But I think it's a different kettle of fish, I'm hoping, for this time round. And Newcastle in dire form at the moment, really need something to turn it around. Their last performance against Brighton was absolutely shambolic, losing 3-0. And the fan base are right now up in arms in how things are going.
Quite rightly so.
Yeah,
quite rightly so.
Things are going really badly at how the club is run, how it's managed. Everything at the club at the moment seems to be going wrong for them. And let's just hope we take advantage. But knowing Spurs, we have a way of screwing things up when everything's going for us in these kind of fixtures. I remember once against Portsmouth, they couldn't play a player because if they played him, they had to pay an extra few million, so they couldn't play him, and then we still lost. You know what I mean? It doesn't even matter. So I think in this game it's vital that we have the right approach and we have the right mentality going into it, and we should win the game. But the Newcastle are going to be scrapping for every point. And even though Callum Wilson, who's been their best player, biggest attacking threat, might not play, they're still going to have players who, if we're not on our game, can hurt us.
Obviously, Newcastle haven't won a game since early February. And their last outing was a very detrimental 3-0 defeat to Brighton, down at the bottom of the Premier League there. Do you think this break would have done them the world of good, or do you reckon after a bad defeat like that, you just want to go out there and get another game done?
I think you want to quit a game as quick as possible. I think when you let these games sit like that and letting a lot of the Newcastle squad be mulling over it for a few weeks, probably worrying about things and letting those bad feelings fester, I think if you get a game as quickly as possible and you have a chance to turn it around as quickly as possible, and there's at least more of a chance of getting a reaction, I think. Obviously, I don't know if it makes too much of a difference, but I don't think it makes too much of a difference, but I think it's better to have a game as quick as possible, if preferably. But look, also it's hard, in the last 4 games, they've got 3 draws. They haven't been losing that much. But
you got to look at those last 4 games they've played: Wolves, West Brom, Villa, and Brighton. All games where you would say they would have more chances of getting points on the board. When you look at their next 4 games, when they're Tottenham, Burnley away, West Ham at home, Liverpool away, and then Arsenal at home. You know what I mean? They are in dire straits at the moment.
Man, I can't see them getting anything out of those games. They're really going to need to if they're going to stave off Fulham from the drop, and that's really worrying for them. In terms of the draws, look, at least I think you got the West Brom draw, which was 0-0, and that was shocking. But drawing to Villa and drawing to Wolves,
with their upcoming games, they look like bad results.
You probably want to win one of them. Yeah, at least look to win one of them.
Exactly. And you definitely need to get something out of that Brighton game, you know what I mean?
Yeah, Brighton
and West Brom.
Yeah, to lose so insipidly to Brighton 3-0, that must have sent alarm bells ringing. And I think Bruce should have been gone a while ago. I think they've got a squad better than what they're showing at the moment, in my opinion, and I think a better manager should be able to get more out of this squad, in my opinion. But it looks like they're sticking with him. It looks like they're going to the end with Steve Bruce at the moment, because I think if they were going to sack him, it would have been now. This would have been the perfect opportunity. 9 games to go, give a new manager the international break and just a home stretch, but they're not going to do that. And I think you reap what you sow at the moment with Newcastle. I feel bad for the fan base because I think they're all the Geordies I've ever met have always been lovely people and always been proper football people.
Yeah, they're great people, like, as you say, great football people, and it's a proper footballing city. Whenever we've gone up there, we've had a great time up there. It's a great city, you know, and like you say, the people up there are really, really nice, and they don't deserve kind of what's going on around their club over the last 10 years or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
like,
I mean,
a club of that size should not be going through 3 relegations within the last 10 years or
that's
whatever.
shocking, man. This could be on the cusp of 3rd relegation at the moment. Looks like quite likely as well. And that must be really tough to take, like, as a Newcastle fan, going through all that. And that's shocking. It is shocking.
You know what? The last time we played Newcastle when they were in a relegation battle, we were going up there heavy favourites. We ended up losing the game 5-1.
It wasn't relegated. They were relegated
They're already gone.
They were already relegated and they won. They did have Rafa then. It was a bit different.
True.
And then at the end of the season on a bit of a high, looking forward to getting back in the Premier League. And we completely capitulated that day. And look, I think that does goes to show attitude definitely makes a difference, because that clearly goes to show it, because Newcastle were already down, yet their attitude was like, we want to prove to the fans that we want to be back next season stronger. And even though we had a lot to fight for that day, our attitude clearly wasn't there, and we ended up getting battered 5-1 by an already relegated Newcastle with 10 men.
Yeah,
we got battered by them.
And at the sending off, it was only 2-1 or 1-1.
It was 2-1. We just got a goal as well just before that. So that shows how much attitude can. I think Mourinho should probably play the video of that performance before the game to show what attitude what difference it can make.
You, Moussa Sissoko would love that video.
Oh, actually, maybe not. Bloody, maybe might convince him to play Sissoko if he plays. I think maybe keep that away. Maybe that video. But I think it's going to be interesting to see the lineup. Obviously, we'll go through that in our predicted lineup, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of team he goes with, considering the fact that we had that improved performance against Villa, changed the formation a bit, had 2 up top, but then with Sonny coming back and we've got Lamela, Lucas, Lo Celso competing. That's not even to mention people like Bale in there as well, and Bergwijn. So it's going to be interesting to see.
As well, who scored a goal last time out.
That's what I'm saying. So it's going to be really interesting to see what kind of lineup he goes for. But clearly I think it'll be telling, because he's going to go with people he trusts now. He can't afford to rotate. He can't to the extent he was when we were in Europa League anyway. And I think from now to the end of the season, when he takes it week by week, he'll be going just with people that are going really hard in training and the players he trusts. He has been speaking nicely. We didn't even mention Dele in that, who he's so out of it as well. Like, he's been mentioning the people have been stayed back during the international break, have been working really, really hard. He's been really super happy with them. So it'll be interesting to see if he uses any of them come the starting 11 on Sunday. No,
100%. When you look at Newcastle and their team, they had a few injury problems coming into it. St. Maximin looks like he's going to make it, but Callum Wilson looks like he's going to be out. How much of a loss is that to them?
Massive. Absolutely massive. He's just like a bit like Kane for us. He's their top goal scorer and their top assister, and he's not even he's decent. Like 10 goals, 5 assists is not bad. And I think he's been a pretty big hit for them when he's been fit. I think he's been really good. I think he's showed, in my opinion, that he can go to another Premier League club and be like for example, if he does go down, if Newcastle go down, I'm sure there'll be a few suitors for him.
Do you think we'll be one of them?
Potentially.
Because we were one of his suitors.
If he's cheaper,
last summer.
We were, but they signed him for what? How much they signed him for?
20 million or
something like that.
And
then so he's probably on a 3-year contract or 4-year contract. So I don't know how. If they're
but
winning.
He'll probably push for a move if someone.
If he's cheaper than Vinicius, I can't see any reason why not. Why we wouldn't go for him. So I think that wouldn't be a terrible deal. But he's a massive loss. Because who you bring in instead of Dwight Gale instead of him, Joe Linton, Andy Carroll, then just nowhere near the threat that Wilson. And what he gives you is that massive threat on the counter, because he's pacey and he can give, and he's strong and he can have a good finish on him as well. Like if they do start Andy Carroll up top, we can just push all the way up with no threat of them running in behind.
Yeah, but on the flip side of that, any kind of free kick, any set piece we give away, they're a danger, and we know what we've been like with set pieces all through this season.
Of course, I don't. But first of all, I don't know if he'll be Andy Carroll starting. Did he start last game?
I'm not sure, but if it is Andy Carroll, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I mean they're more of a threat. I wouldn't even say they're a massive threat, because how many goals he scored this season? Not many. One maybe. So it's not exactly something that I'm going to be quaking my boots in.
Well, he hasn't played much, to be fair.
Exactly. So I don't like. Obviously, he brings his own threat, Andy Carroll, but I'd much rather deal with Carroll than I would with Wilson.
Oh yeah, that's 100%.
And it's a big blow. And I think in general play, when we have the ball, we know we can push all the way up without that much of a threat. But with, say, Maximum there on that left-hand side, if he's going to be back, he's a big boost. And he's very similar to Lucas and like Adama Traore in a sense that he doesn't like running in behind. He likes the ball to feet, dribbling past players.
He kind of huffs and puffs a lot without blowing the house down.
Yeah. I do think his end product is okay. It's not. I don't think it's Adama Traore levels bad. I think he's actually not bad. His final ball, but it's something he definitely needs to improve on to become an elite player. Because at the moment he's got like 2 goals or something and 2 assists. It's like needs to be doing more than that. But I think he's a player with serious dribbling ability, like really serious.
He is,
and he's one tricky in the box, like penalties and stuff like that. We've given enough penalties away this season to not to be worried about him. So he's the one definitely I'm looking out for. Like, you're going to have to double up against him. That's just the facts, because he's that good at dribbling. If you leave him 1-on-1 against anyone really in the league, he's got a good chance of dribbling past them. It could be the best defender in the league, and he's got a good chance of dribbling past them. So he's going to be the main threat. But other than him, there's no one I'm too worried about. You've got Fraser, who's really been pretty bad this season for them. Almiron, who's hot and cold, exactly. Other than that, Joe Linton's been a disaster ever since he started for them.
Only against us he scores.
Yeah, of course, only against us. Jeff Hendrick, no. There's no one I'm really worried about. Dwight Gale was really average. The only one maybe you could say is Willock, who's on loan from Arsenal. We might have a point.
He's had a good little cameo loan for them.
Yeah, and he might have a point to prove. He might be extra motivated in this game, so he's one to look out for.
Every time I've seen Newcastle play, I think I've always been impressed with Willock. I think he's looked good for them. I think that's kind of maybe his level. I think Arsenal might be a bit too much of a step up for him, but I think that at Newcastle he looks a good player. And
the only thing you'd say as well in regards to Newcastle is they showed that they've done the double over Everton this season. They beat them 2-0 home and 2-0 away, although I think Wilson scored all 4 goals if I think rightly. Right. So that threat isn't there, but they have shown that if they do take the lead in a game, they can. And if you're not on your game offensively, like Everton weren't in those 2 games, like Everton are not the most offensive team. Like, they've got good attacking players, but a bit like us, they're not the most offensive team, and they've shown that they can hold you out if you're not on your game. And they do take a lead, they can hold on for a result. So we've got to make sure to guard against that for sure. And we have to make sure we go into the game looking for goals immediately, trying to get on the front foot, getting an early goal as quick as possible, and not let Newcastle settle into the game.
Yeah, is that the kind of way we're going to find success in this game, in terms of same game plan as it was at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, just put our chances away pretty much?
And also I think it plays into the fact that they're on a bad run, and the fact they just got beaten by Brighton 3-0, even though it's just before the international break. If we do get an early goal, those negative feelings will seep in again. The heads will drop. I'm telling you, with this Newcastle squad, it will happen. If you let them grow into the game and you give them encouragement and they have a few chances and it's like still 0-0 going into the second half or the hour mark, then alarm bells should start ringing, and then you're in a bit of trouble, because then they can settle into a game and they can defend deep, and they've shown that they still have a bit of that defensive organisation from the Rafa days if you give them the opportunity to do it. It's just important that we don't give them that opportunity. Yeah. That's the crucial thing.
Yeah, but apart from against West Brom, they haven't kept a clean sheet since that Everton game, and that was in January.
Yeah.
But also, why it's important to score that early goal is we need to knock their confidence of their keeper. Like, bloody hell, every time Newcastle play against us, their keeper has a worldie. So I think it really is imperative for us to get that early goal, stamp our authority of the game, let the negative feelings of the Newcastle players come back. Let's not let this goalkeeper settle in the game as well. And yeah, I think if we do get that early goal, I think we can go on and win this game quite resoundingly.
But also importantly, we have to learn our lesson from the game early in the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium.
Put your chances away.
Because as much as we didn't deserve to draw, which we didn't, and we battered Newcastle, which we did, we didn't take the chances what we created. We created so many chances in that game, and it was criminal that we only scored 1 goal. And at the end of the day, it wasn't a penalty, but we paid for it. We paid the price for not taking our chances. And not only were we screwed over by the penalty, but we kind of were the architects of our own downfall by allowing it to get to a situation where there was only 1 goal in it going into the last second. And it should never have been that. So
100%.
We need to take our chances. We need to make sure if we get the first goal, we follow up as soon as possible with a second goal, and then we can think about about killing the game, and that's that. So let's hope we learn our lesson from the last game. And Newcastle will be fighting for every point, but I just get that feeling. You get that feeling with this team. You get an early goal, you take some early chances, and their heads will drop, and they won't have that mentality to get back in the game. So as long they do have a few threats, but we got to think about, as long as we concentrate on ourselves, we'll win this game.
Where do you see the key matchups being?
I think pressing from the front is going to be key in this game, making sure you unsettle that Newcastle back four and winning the ball high up the pitch, because if you give them time and space to kind of play out the back or even like lump the ball forward into an Andy Carroll, you've got to make sure that if they do direct long passes into Carroll, that they're not accurate, and the only way to do that is by pressing them and hurrying them and making sure that they're not getting accuracy on those long passes into Andy Carroll and allowing him to flick on the ball or hold the ball up or anything like that. So I think the key matchups is going to be Lucas or whoever starts up front, Kane and Son, pressuring those Newcastle defenders, making them make mistakes or making them make passes which are inaccurate, and then winning the ball back very quickly. So I think that's going to be a key matchup. Obviously, Ndombele in a double pivot is crucial, and I think the fullbacks, they're going to be crucial in terms of they've got to say Maximum to deal with, and they're going to have to provide an outlet on the right-hand side, because I feel like we're going to have a lot of possession in this game. So they're going to have to provide an outlet in a way that doesn't leave them too exposed against, say, Maximum on a counter. So that's going to be crucial. But I feel like if we do play Sanchez and Rodon like we did against Villa, that could be the way to go, because if we push right up, they're going to have that energy and that ability to cover a lot more ground than, say, Toby could. So maybe that could be the way to go in this one.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have that much of a threat in behind, do they, Newcastle? So you got to say that if we do play a kind of high line this game, it could kind of squeeze it in the middle of the park.
Got to suffocate them.
You know what I mean? So there you go. All right, so that is our match preview. Looking forward to this one. Tottenham are back. It's what we've been waiting for 2 weeks now, since that lovely 2-0 win at Villa Park. That is our match preview. Let me know your thoughts on the game in the comment section below. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always,
come on you Spurs.